Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, partnering with donors from all walks of life to improve southeastern Virginia through grants, scholarships, and leadership initiatives. Learn more at hamptonroadscf.org.
Hello, everyone. I'm Barbara Hamlee. In its history, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority is described as the first Negro Greek letter sorority. Formed in 1908 by 9 women at Howard University in Washington, D.C., today it boasts nearly 300,000 initiated members worldwide, with more than 1,000 chapters across the U.S. and in places like Germany, Dubai, Liberia, and South Korea. It's been in the news lately with the election of one of its members as Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. Up next on Another View, the story of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Stay tuned. Another View will be right back after this news from NPR.
Discussing today's topics from an African-American perspective, this is Another View.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Another View. I'm Barbara Hamlee. You know, it's quite a sight to see when they are all gathered together. A sea of women dressed in their salmon pink and apple green attire, the colors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. It's the first Black Greek letter sorority formed in 1908 and incorporated in 1913. Its reach is worldwide. The Mid-Atlantic region alone has 130 chapters and more than 10,000 members in Virginia and North Carolina. It's been in the spotlight lately with the election of Vice President Kamala Harris, who is a member of the organization. In celebration of Women's History Month, we have 2 members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated with us. Please welcome Ms. Jennifer King Congleton, the Mid-Atlantic Regional Director. Jennifer, how are you?
Good afternoon, Barbara. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. And Dr. Aurelia Williams, chair of this year's Mid-Atlantic Regional Conference. Aurelia, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon. It's also a pleasure to be here.
Oh, absolutely. So my first question to you ladies is this. I want you to transport yourselves back to 1908. And you're having a conversation with the original 9 members. And I want you to answer this question. Would they be shock and awe that the Vice President of the United States is an AKA? Or would they say, of course, because greatness is expected? Jennifer, I'll start with you.
Thank you. I think that our founders would say, we're back in 1908. And mind you, we don't have the opportunity to vote. We are just a few years post-slavery. And we have come on the campus of Howard University making strides to create the first Black Greek organization for women. I think they would be surprised, but would expect greatness. As a pioneering organization for women of color, they would expect 113 years, and this is the legacy that we're living. We are leaving. So I think they definitely not be surprised with greatness, because they were great. Mm. You know, who would think that 113 years and we're still going strong?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, one of the things I want to talk to you all about. But Aurelia, what is your response? You're back in 1908 and you're chatting with the founders. What are they saying about Kamala Harris?
I think that they were so innovative and forward-thinking that they would say, well, what took you so long, right? But they would have expected it of us, the first African-American sorority, and expected it would be one of our members. So I am definitely sure that they would agree. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And be in awe and happy, and just know that it was our time and it was going to come. So, yes.
So, you know, and you mentioned this a little bit, Jennifer, but I want to explore it a little bit more. Tell us about what was happening in society back in 1909 and what was going on. First of all, the fact that there were women on campus getting a college education, that was huge within itself. But can you just give us kind of a sense of what was happening that would make Ms. Ethel Hedgeman say, I got to get a group together here, and we got to come together as women to support each other?
Well, when we think about women's suffrage, and we hadn't had the opportunity to vote, women were always at the back seat. We had just come up from slavery, and our voices were not heard. So here we are on the campus of Howard, and this is an opportunity for us to make a mark in history. And I think she gathered those 9 together and said, what can we do? We need an organization that can make an impact on communities. Mm-hmm. She saw that African Americans were at the back seat. We weren't even on buses or whatever at that point. We were at the back seat. What can we do for our women of color, to definitely go down in history? We need to galvanize our folks here on the campus. Whether she thought it would be worldwide or not, I don't know. I kind of skirt that a little bit, mm-hmm. but realizing it was an opportunity for them. Mm. So let's move it, y'all. Let's do it. And thinking about the president of Howard University at that time and the professors, they probably thought these women were absolutely out of their minds.
Because they did have to go to the university in order to get permission to do this.
Oh, absolutely, to have approval. But the administration took a chance on them to say, okay, you mm-hmm. want this, so we're going to give you approval to get started.
Mm-hmm. And Aurelia, tell us a little bit about some of the founders. They were originally 9, and then they reached back to the sophomore class and picked 7 more to make sure that things were continuing. If I have that history correct. But who were these women? What were they majoring in? What was their life like?
So these women were campus leaders. They, as I stated, were innovative. They were majoring in those majors that were common for women at the time, but they were they believed in one another. They believed in the perpetuity of the organization, and that is why they reached back to the sophomore class, so that the juniors and seniors would graduate, but there would be someone to carry on. And even as a graduate member, after having graduated from Howard, they still connected with the undergraduates to ensure that the vision and the purpose, would carry on for perpetuity. And so they were very much influencing those young ladies to be sure that, the original goals and objectives, the principles from which we were founded, mm-hmm. would be retained mm-hmm. and not modified.
So what is the mission of AKA? Who wants to Go ahead, Aurelia.
So it's so the mission is lifelong personal and professional development of members, galvanizing membership into an organization of respected power and influence, and being at the forefront of advocacy and social change that results in equality and equity for all citizens.
Mm-hmm. And that mission has been there from the beginning and carries all the way through. Is that correct? And
that is correct.
And the fact that these women were college educated meant that they probably were also among the elite of the African American community at that time, Jennifer. But their mission also reached back to help others within the African American community. Is that right?
Absolutely. Now, Barbara, when we look at the history and a little bit about our founders, they were members that were majoring in German and French and Latin and, just a wealth of different majors, educators too, mm-hmm. and chemistry majors. I mean, back in that time, and biology in 1908. So when you talk about Alpha Kappa Alpha and the mission and how we're driven, service to all mankind. That is our motto, service. And they were driven then that we need to make a difference in our communities. So whether that's with a food drive or with trying to get the right to vote, whether whatever we're doing in the community, that's where we started, and that's where we still are right now, serving that mission, service to all mankind.
So, what made the organization incorporate? Why was that important? And that happened in 1913, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, Jennifer, why was it necessary to incorporate, and what did that do for the organization?
Well, with any business or a group, you need to incorporate to make sure you have bylaws to drive that mission of the organization, so that individuals who are not driven by that goal or the objectives of the group cannot come in and do their own thing. So that's why our leaders at that time, smart women who were courageous, who said we need to incorporate, we need bylaws, we need guidelines to make sure that those that are like us will stay on the path, keep this organization on the path to greatness. So that's where we were.
So the college campus chapters are started on an HBCU, but they're not limited to an HBCU. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah, we have a majority PWIs, predominantly white institutions, have Alpha Kappa Alpha presence, as well as our HBCUs. And they're doing a great job. Right now, we're Mid-Atlantic is North Carolina and Virginia. And we have over half of our undergraduate members on a predominantly white campuses. So it's making a difference. It makes a difference when you talk about recruitment and the African-American presence on campus and integrating that. Now, mind you, these chapters, most of them have been on predominantly white campuses for 25, 30, 40 years, but and still some that are being chartered now. So we are certainly making impact throughout the world, but definitely in North Carolina and Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic region.
440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240 are the numbers to call to join our conversation. I know there are tons of you AKAs out there listening right now. Give us a call. Let's talk about your experience with the sorority, why you got involved, and the work that you are doing. 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. So AKA was started by and for African American women. Is it limited to African American women, Aurelia?
Absolutely not. We welcome all members of all backgrounds and nationalities into our organization. And we believe in diversity, and it has helped to strengthen who we are.
And so what makes an AKA? Who are you? In other words, when you're looking to recruit women to join you, what are you looking for? And I'll take that answer from both of you. I'll start with you, Jennifer.
I think we're looking for forward-thinking women. We're looking for courageous women. We're looking for women who know where they're going. They know the way. We're looking at leaders, or definitely if they're not leaders, promoting leadership. We're looking at those with great character. We're looking for individuals in every field. And as we look at growing and doing great things in America and in the world, we're looking for that potential. You don't have to be great now, but we're looking for the opportunity to have great potential in leading. Now, we also know that everybody cannot lead. We need great followers. We look for team workers. We have to work as a team. Any organization of women, we have to have that. We have to have those that can humble themselves and that can galvanize others to work with them. So that's my little bit. So I'm going to, I can't tell everything. So I'm going to allow Aurelia to do that. Now, mind you, Barbara, we're also on campuses for undergraduates. We were also looking at women who did not have the opportunity to make that decision in undergraduate. So we take our graduate members, which is very unlike some of the other organizations, not Divine Nine, but other Greek letter organizations. So we look to be very inclusive of young and those not so young.
More seasoned folks. Is that so? Aurelia, how would you answer that question? When you look at a woman who is an AKA, who is she? What are the characteristics?
So I agree with Jennifer. A couple of things that I would add is that we are looking for college-trained women and women who believe in servant leadership. So we believe that you would be leaders, or you have the potential to lead, and then you will also participate as a role model for others who are coming behind you. We believe in strength in numbers. We believe in education, enlightenment, and reaching out across all communities. Mm-hmm. Because we want to make sure that we have international programs that service the full person. So you can learn about even just your credit, in addition to refugees who are abandoned and need service. So we need people who are interested in the full service model that we employ, and who are willing to get in and do the work. So we don't need people who just want to dress up in their pink and green. That comes, and we all look cute. But we want people to get in and help us do the work to become great. Because we know that Alpha Kappa Alpha doesn't make the person. The persons make Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
So one big, huge thing that I know that all of the African-American fraternities and sororities were engaged in, but we're talking specifically about AKAs, and that was the election of your of one of your members. I was getting ready to say a word that I read I'm not supposed to say. So, since I am not in the sorority. So, but talk to me, particularly from the Mid-Atlantic region. What did you all do to galvanize, to get people to the polls in the election of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden?
Barbara, Mid-Atlantic did a yeoman's job in making sure that our communities, first of all, we were educated about the election and educated about the candidates. And then we got out with other Divine Nine organizations. We pulled together, it's not about, at this point, it's not about Delta, it's not about Zeta, Alpha, whatever. It's about us. It's about us as a people, making sure that we have put a footprint in every single community to educate and make sure that folk got to the polls to vote. Now, you could be registered, but you don't go to the polls. So we made sure we covered all bases. And when our connection chair called to say, we need a pocket here in the Greensboro area, it's not looking good, or it's not in Eastern North Carolina, we made sure that chapters all over got out to vote. We put signs up, we educated, we knocked on doors. We did everything that we could to make sure that folk knew about our candidate. Mm-hmm. And it was not a big surprise because of all of the hard work that we've done. There were we've got millions of people registered to vote, and then we made sure they got out to vote. So we are ecstatic, just like all the other Divine Nine members, to let them know that we got one of our sisters in to the second highest seat in the United States of America.
So, Jennifer, explain also, because a lot of my core audience would not know what Divine Nine means. Can you explain that term?
I sure will. Divine Nine are the first organizations, a collaboration of organizations, Greek letter organizations, fraternities and sororities, all college-educated men and women who started for fraternities and sororities on campuses, and not all HBCUs. So to make sure that we collaborated and we have stayed together as Divine Nine pulling ourselves together to make a difference in every community. There are 9 of us. That's why we're divine, and there are 9. And when we collaborate and work together, there's no telling what the endless possibilities are as we make a difference in the world. And I say world because all of us have chapters throughout, not only just the United States, but in other countries as well.
Throughout the world. So, Aurelia, what does the fact that Kamala Harris is an AKA, what has that done for the organization as a whole? Because it certainly has put it in the spotlight in ways that it has not been done in the past.
Well, so first I'd like to say, because she's a woman, it has changed the mindset of the community. The fact that she's an AKA is like the icing on the cake, right? So we are happy. And this is why there was such a huge combination of the Divine 9 organizations to come together, all the sororities and fraternities, because of who she represents. She represents several nationalities, including Black women. And, we've seen in the news that the Black woman is the most disrespected person, but here she is, and she has ascended to the office of the Vice President of the United States. And following the, 2 pandemics that we've been going through, this was like a breath of fresh air for all of us as women, as people of color, and definitely as a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority.
And when you say 2 pandemics, what are you talking about?
So I'm talking about the global pandemic, COVID-19, and then the rash of racial injustice that happened over the year too.
440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240 are the numbers to call to join our conversation. Michael joins us from Portsmouth. Hi, Michael. You're on the air.
Good morning, ladies. How are y'all?
Doing great.
Good morning.
Look, I just wanted to throw in my little 2 cents about this thing. I live here in the city of Portsmouth, and some time ago I made the a crazy decision about becoming a custodian for the Portsmouth Public School System. I was sent over to a school. I'm going to mention the school, John Tyler Elementary. I was lucky enough, and this is how silly and crazy life is. I was lucky enough when I got into this school, I met the principal over there at John Tyler, and it just comes to fruition that she is a member of AKA. Now, in the first beginning, she was the principal, and I didn't think much of it, but as time went on, I got a chance to speak with her, and I got a chance to understand her. And as time went by, she would tell me about AKA in small little bits and pieces. It comes to find out that she became the principal of the year in the city of Portsmouth. Mm-hmm. And when you guys tell the story about AKA and its founding and our vice president, it is no surprise to me that the success that this woman has had, and not only the people within the sorority. You guys are extremely powerful. I just wanted to throw in my little 2 cents there.
I appreciate that, Michael. Thanks so much for calling. And I see the ladies, we're watching each other on Zoom, and they're smiling. I'm going to let them respond. Thanks for the call. Jennifer, you want to respond to Michael?
Certainly. Thank you, Michael. And that is no surprise to me either, that the person who was the leader at that school was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and it does not surprise me at all that she did not take the time to let you know about the first and the finest organization there. So that's what we do. That's how we recruit. That's how we tell our story, and it's history. Now, that's what we're all about. So thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for the respect you give to this organization. We appreciate you.
If you're just joining us, we're celebrating Women's History Month by sharing the history of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the first Black Greek letter sorority. Our guests are Ms. Jennifer King Congleton, Mid-Atlantic Regional Director of AKA Inc., and Dr. Aurelia Williams, Chair of this year's Regional Conference. Now, I know that the Regional Conference was supposed to be in Hampton, and COVID kind of stepped in there, Aurelia, didn't it, and made things change. But you all are going to continue with the conference. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, so the conference is going to be held virtually. We are very excited. We have over 4,500 registered members, and we are going to have live and virtual components that will meet our cross-generational needs. We're going to have leadership training to assist with all of our parts of our national program across the Mid-Atlantic region. And we're also going to have some opportunities to fellowship, learn, and develop our members, as well as continue to work on our service project. So this is definitely her story in the making. This will be the first of its kind, our first virtual regional conference, and we are looking to a great time.
Now, I know one of the big things that you all are doing is, I think you're calling it the Pink Box for the food bank. Is that correct? Go ahead, Jennifer.
That's right. We always do a service project, Barbara, and this time we decided that since pandemic, there were so many citizens that had food deficiencies. They did not have, they're out of work, they don't have the food that they need, and a big percentage of that are children. So our members decided that we wanted to give to the food bank of North Carolina and Virginia. So our members have donated funds, and our goal is $20,000, and I am sure we will make that and probably exceed that, because we do that in our own communities, but we're doing that collaboratively as a region right now. So we're excited about that.
In reading the materials.
I'm sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say, when you mentioned raising the money for the food bank, but over the course of your history, you all have raised millions of dollars for scholarship and for to help people, who are homeless. I mean, there are all these different areas where your footprint is that we may not necessarily know it's you. Is it more about you actually doing the work, or is it more about you getting your name attached to the work? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. It's about us meeting the needs of the community, and sometimes not even meeting, but exceeding those needs of the community, because we know that there are people that look like you and I cannot afford to have a college education. So why do we raise money for scholarships? I'm glad you asked. We want our members to, not only our members, to touch those individuals in the communities who need scholarships, who need books. You might can get that scholarship for your tuition, but you might can't afford the books that you need. Books are expensive. Or you might can't afford that food plan. So that's what Alpha Kappa Alpha monies are for, to help those communities out there. When we talk about our number one program now is #CAP. How do you actually get into college? How do you do an application? How do you apply for grants? How do you apply for which schools actually can give you a free ride because you have a 4.0 average? There's so many things about getting into a college that some of our families don't understand. So it's not about our name. However, that is an underlying purpose as well, but meeting the needs of those communities. When we look at healthcare, and we have the first organization that I know of that has a mobile mammography unit that goes across the country. You see this big pink and green van that is the mobile mammography unit that is for underserved women, uninsured women who have not had the opportunity to have a mammogram. It came to the Mid-Atlantic region, and we were right on the border of North Carolina and Virginia in Roanoke Rapids. There were women, we did over 100, mammograms.
And
in 2
did
days.
you all purchase the bus and the material and the equipment and all of that? Is that how that
Absolutely.
worked? Wow.
Absolutely. Those across the country, and right now it's in Atlanta, Georgia. So we met the needs of rural North Carolina and Virginia. There's, we could tell you many stories, but I remember one. The woman said, she knew she needed one, but husband out of work. She's out of work. She could not afford it, did not have insurance. So this was an opportunity to be a blessing to her to take care of her needs. And then we found individuals who had abnormalities. What do? We referred them to a physician to get checked out. So hopefully we are saving lives and then making a difference in the quality of life, doing some preventive education with units like that. Mm-hmm. Nutrition, we just go around the gamut. We're taking care of our communities and those who are not as fortunate as some of us to have quality health care, to have quality education, to have a quality arts program, to learn about the art and economic development. How do you save? Some of us cannot save from one paycheck. We are, what is it called?
Living from paycheck to paycheck.
Out of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
One paycheck out of poverty. But how can you save? How can you make a difference in the monies that you do have? So we've been able to do things like that during the pandemic. We've been able to do that via virtually, teaching these. And we teach the young. Sometimes some of us are a little bit old for that, but we're teaching the young so that they can make a difference and have a better quality of life financially, making an economic impact in our communities.
Mm-hmm. 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. Donald joins us from Virginia Beach. Hi, Donald. You're on the air.
Hello. How you doing?
Doing great. Go ahead.
I would like to say I'm a father of two young ladies that got good profession. They're both members of these organizations. I want to apologize for not really knowing all about this, but I'm very proud of my daughters, and I want to let them know that Daddy is 100% behind them, and you ladies too. I'm very proud and ashamed we had to come this far to recognize such a fine institution. But my two babies are right there, and they are. I'm proud of them. They see more than I ever thought to think of. And I just want to thank you as a father.
Donald, thank you so much.
Of two black young professional, a teacher and a social worker. I love my baby. D&D.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for that call. You hear that pride in his voice, Aurelia.
I do. I do hear the pride in his voice. I heard the pride in Michael's voice. I happen to know the principal at John Tyler, so I know who he was speaking of. And my husband actually works at John Tyler as well. So, we are just looking for ladies. We are ladies who hope to be the example and role models for others. And so we are very proud that Dad is proud of his daughters who have sought this vision, who've decided to take on this mission of being of service to us.
Okay. Gracie joins us from Portsmouth. Hi, Gracie. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Gracie Bowers. I am a very excited member of the graduate chapter Gamma Delta Omega located here in Portsmouth, so I know that I know both of you all. But I would just like to share how excited I am about the mission and the goals that we set to accomplish. I am the program chairman, so this year we're working on everything from supporting HBCUs and helping students to get into the colleges of their choices through our college admission progress. We focus on women's wellness as well as the economic legacy program. We even include refugees in America. And this year we also have the opportunity to continue with our arts program that focuses on enlightening community on the Harlem Renaissance period. So we do provide a lot of service to the community. And I would like to thank my chapter because they know how excited I am and passionate I am about reading, so much so that about 7 years ago, we created a book drive that continues to run through this day where we provide books to our local community in various schools throughout the year. So again, I thank you all for all that you are doing, representing Alpha Kappa Alpha, and I thank the radio station for giving us this opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome, Gracie. I have a question for you. you had choices when you were on whatever. Where did you graduate? What college?
I graduated from Norfolk State University.
Okay.
I didn't have the opportunity to enter as an undergraduate.
Okay.
So as I went on, and I graduated, and I've since graduated from graduate school as well. But I connected after my oldest daughter, actually became a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha on the University of Richmond campus. And I watched them, and she watched me, and I watched what they did, and I became involved with that. And so, we have what we call legacy. Normally it's the mother, and then it'll be the daughters. But in my case, it was my daughter, and then it became me as the mother. And not only that, my youngest daughter is also a member of this organization. So it does run deep in my family.
Oh, wow. That is fantastic. Well, we thank you for calling in. Thank you so much. 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. I would love to hear also from our folks who listen to our show on a regular basis, and you are non-African American. I think your sorority experience may be a little bit different, if that is at least my understanding. And if I'm incorrect in that, I really want you to call and let me know. So give me a call, 440-2665 or 1-800-940-2240. And to that point, ladies, when I watch predominantly white institutions and the Greek organizations that are not African American, it seems like they tend to be more college campus centric and not the continuation past the college years in terms of membership, in terms of stewardship, in terms of work and so forth. Am I incorrect in that assumption? And why do you think there's a difference, Jennifer?
I think you're absolutely right spot on with that. Most of our Caucasian organizations, they are for the campus life, college life, and they do not extend the service does not extend past graduation. So they do come back for reunions, but so far as keeping the units going, that has not been the case that I know of, and that of course the universities that I'm affiliated with as well. So I think that's what the Divine Nine does, promotes that lifelong commitment to service. And that is the blessing that we have. And that's where we are. A lot of people don't understand why we're doing this as graduate members. So it is our responsibility to educate our communities on what we're doing and how it starts in undergraduate and then it continues on in the graduate chapters. And we want to keep people active. We have so many members that have opted not to, but we want them to come back home. We have a big campaign to get active. We need everybody making a difference in the communities, not just when there's a Kamala Harris story, but we need it on the book drives, as my sister Gracie was talking about it. We need it on the canned food drives and the dental vans. We need it everywhere. So we would like to just invite them to come back home to the organizations in which you are part of.
Okay, so let's have some fun, because I do need to ask you guys this. Why pink and green? Aurelia?
They're beautiful colors.
The colors are beautiful. They are distinct, and the color combination cannot be construed with any other color combination, right? So, what I will say is that we have two colors, while others have, a color in white, right? So I just love the color combination of pink and green. One thing about it is when you're wearing it, people know who you are.
That's very true. And the ivy is a part of your legacy. What is that about, Jennifer?
That ivy, and you think about ivy that you may see, our symbol, and when you see ivy growing, what does it do? It spreads out, it goes up, it never dies, it's continuous, it's always green. So that is Alpha Kappa Alpha. We spread our wings, we go throughout the world, we stay alive, and we're vibrant, and that is just who we are. And that's why the ivy is so symbolic of our organization, the ivy is a strong plant. You can't, well, sometimes you can't kill it, but
but it's hard.
For the most part, if you keep it watered and nurtured, it is going to continuously grow and become very full and very, very beautiful plant.
So I know that there's secrecy around the initiation process. So I'm not going to ask you what that is. But I guess my question more is of curiosity as to why there's that secrecy, number one. And then secondly, if you decide to join on the what you call grad chapter, after you've graduated from a college or university, is there an initiation period similar to what happens in undergrad? Is it totally different? And what does that initiation mean in terms of, I guess, your commitment to the organization? Who wants to start? Aurelia, go ahead. Oh, you gonna let the regional director do that? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. We do have an initiation period, and during the pandemic, it has been streamlined. But as an organization, there are secrecies, and we do keep those near and dear to our heart. We have chosen not to do those virtual because they are so near and dear. We have, it is nothing that will harm individuals. But
yeah, because I've never seen anything in terms of hazing and that kind of thing associated with you guys. So, but there is a process, right?
There is a process. You just don't become an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman overnight. You have to learn about the organization. What you know or what the public knows is one thing, but what we know deep down about Alpha Kappa Alpha takes a while to learn that process. So we are very committed to educating and then making sure that our members are committed to every fiber of the organization.
So what would... Oh, we actually have another call, I believe, and it's Marguerite. Am I saying that correctly? From Newport News?
Yes.
Hi.
Marguerite from Newport News.
Marguerite, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
This is a wonderful discussion. I'm not AKA, but my daughter is a proud AKA. She graduated from VCU in 2000. Well, she became an AKA in 2016. So she is a proud AKA. I've learned a lot about the sorority through her. So I'm excited for her. I've seen her growth. She loves her pink and green. She gets these Abby boxes every month. But I'm proud to say that I am the mother of an AKA sorority member. And I've enjoyed this discussion. I told her, I'm listening to these people talk about AKA. But she's not able to listen. But I told her,
oh, she can listen online. We're always online at anotherviewradio.org. But just so you know, also, in case she'd like to hear the show, we will have our podcast up on our website, anotherviewradio.org, this afternoon by 3 o'clock. So she can just go online and listen away.
I will have her do that.
Thanks so much for calling. We appreciate it, Marguerite. So, the parents, even if the parents aren't involved, and it's so funny because I remember my dad, God rest his soul, one of the things that he was most excited about and talked a lot about was the fact that he felt that a college education, particularly for an African-American woman or man, was not complete unless you pledged. I mean, and I have to tell you, I disappointed him because I did not pledge. But that is something that the community as a whole takes pride in. Whether it's AKA or any of the other Divine Nine, it's a source of pride. Would you not say, Jennifer?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. There are many who choose not to, and for whatever reason that is, I think that's okay. But certainly, we do not do anything that is. And let me clear this up too, because there's this misnomer that we are not grounded in Christ. We were founded on Christian principles, and we still, even today, we still make sure we represent those spiritualities that our members, our founders had. So there is nothing that is antichrist, if you will, with Alpha Kappa Alpha or any of the Greek letter organizations, I should say, for a whole with that. So that commitment is something about having your sisters around you. And, we used to say we had lines, but now we have our co-initiates. But to be able to have a group of women who know you, who you can call for anything, who has your back, who's there for the baby showers, who's there for the marriages, who's there for the divorces, who's there just wrapped around you, it makes a difference. And as you were saying, we're nearly 300,000 strong, and I'm sure we will be by the end of this administration over that number. But Greek life is something that I wouldn't trade for anything. There's not been a moment since I became a member in 1976 that I have actually not loved. And there's not a member that I can say that I have not learned something from. Mm-hmm. Whether that is what I wanted to learn or not, I still have learned something from them. So I'm excited about the experiences that I've had, and I think all sisters would say that they've had great experiences. Some that they don't want to have anymore, but definitely they've learned a lot.
So we've got 2 minutes left before our hour is almost up. I tell you, time flies. But my question to you is, as a young woman, if you're on a college campus, or if you have never pledged before and you're thinking about it, what is the impetus in 2021 to join a sorority, and then particularly AKA? Aurelia, let me start with you.
So I am celebrating my 30th year this year, and I did join the sorority on the campus of Norfolk State University in 1991. And what I have established are lifelong friendships. So I have members, friends, people who join the sorority with me who are my children's godmother. I mean, we text this morning discussing things that are of importance to us. So I think the greatest joy outside of the service and the impact that we can make in the community are those lifelong friendships that are established.
Okay, that's Dr. Aurelia Williams. She is chair of this year's Mid-Atlantic Regional Conference for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Thank you so much for being with us. And Jennifer, you get the last 30 seconds or so. Why should they join now?
Alpha Kappa Alpha is a worldwide organization making a difference in the communities in which we serve and which we live. So individuals who want to do that, make an impact on their communities, know that you can do that through an organization of like-minded women, courageous women, trailblazers in our communities. Okay. So we are certainly proud to be able to host our regional conference virtually this year. And hopefully we'll be back in the Tidewater area, Ms. Barbara. And next year, we are looking forward to that and hoping and praying that we will be through this pandemic.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. That's Ms. Jennifer King Congleton, Mid-Atlantic Regional Director of AKA Inc. And thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Claude McKnight of the group Take 6, and you're listening to Another View.
And welcome back. Voting for the Tony Awards started March 1st and just wrapped up this past Sunday. Among those nominated, Hampton Roads' own Adrienne Warren for her role as Tina in the Tina Turner musical. Our Lisa Godley spoke with this talented actress about her role, her influences, and her goals as a performer.
When I was a little girl, I had a rag doll, only doll I've ever owned.
I grew up singing in church. I went to St. Thomas AME Zion Church in Norfolk, Virginia, and I grew up singing with my dad.
So just like Tina Turner's real-life story, you too grew up singing in the church.
That's definitely when the music bug hit. The theater bug came a little later, around 6 years old.
Adrienne netted her first Tony nomination in 2016 for her role as Best Featured Actress in the musical Shuffle Along, and in 2020 as Best Actress for her role as Tina Turner.
Good job, walking for the man every night and day. And I never lost from being in the sleep and worried about the way things not happening.
A lot of people forget that I'm singing 20 plus songs a night, and between every dance number I'm doing fight choreography because of the domestic violence within her life, which is also presented in the show as well.
So how did you train for something so physically demanding?
I would jump rope to Proud Mary to the beat of the music. My trainer would make me do it over and over again. I just tried to be as strong as I possibly could as Adrienne to be the best Tina I could possibly be.
And according to her mom, being the best she can be is a goal this Hampton Roads native has been shooting for since childhood.
My husband would sit her in her little seats when she was an infant, and he would play jazz. And we noticed that she could bounce right on rhythm.
My parents are huge music fans, so I listened to everything from Bob Marley to Yolanda Adams, gospel.
My husband sings, and when Adrienne was little, instead of going to bed, she would lay down on the steps and listen. And so he finally told her, well, come on, since you're up anyway. He taught her one of the songs that he was preparing. And when they sung it together in church, I just bawled. I felt like she had something. And I was all about, let's get her in dance, let's get her involved. And she just blossomed.
I was a hurrah player, so theater was really in my bones at that point, and I thought, what better way to continue nurturing this talent but to go to governor school and actually get the training I need to take this further in my life. And it changed my life. I learned everything I could have possibly needed to learn to be the performer I am today. I learned at governor school. I was asked to go to London to start doing a workshop for the show. I didn't even think that I would end up doing the role, really. I thought they'd hire Beyonce.
And after all that rehearsal, you finally get to perform, and it's in front of Tina Turner. What was that like for you?
I didn't look at her the entire presentation until I got to Proud Mary, because I thought if I don't move forward with this project, I want to at least be able to tell my unborn children that this happened. And I looked at her, and she was smiling and singing along with me. And it was just such a special moment because it gave me permission to just be myself and enjoy this presentation, enjoy this moment. And at the end of the presentation, I just fell at her feet and bowed and just started crying. And she was unbelievably gracious and loving. I'm so grateful for her, and she's taught me so much. I feel like I've been placed on this planet to tell the stories of our ancestors. I'm a storyteller, and I'm grateful for the biographical work that I've gotten to do thus far, and I hope to do more in the future.
For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
And Adrienne's mom, who you heard in the piece, is Dr. Andrea Warren, the executive director of the Governor's School for the Arts, located in downtown Norfolk. The Tina Turner musical netted 12 Tony nominations, including Best Musical and Best Leading Actress in a Musical. Go, Adrienne. Adrienne, we are keeping our fingers crossed. Voting for the Tonys ended on March 15th, but no date has been announced for the actual awards ceremony. But we do know it will coincide with Broadway's eventual reopening. Thank you for joining us today. It's been great spending the past hour with you. Next week on Another View, what you need to know when filing your 2020 taxes. Our theme music is an original composition written and performed especially for Another View by Jay Sennett. Special thanks to Paul Bibbo, producer of Hearsay with Kathy Lewis, for sitting in for Lisa Godley, who is on vacation. Todd Washburn is our audio engineer, and Dr. Barry Graham answered our phones. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Remember, wear your mask, keep washing your hands, stay 6 feet apart in public, get your shots, and join us next Thursday at noon for Another View.
Support comes from Hampton Roads Community Foundation, carrying out your charitable wishes forever, whether it's helping shelter animals, feeding the homeless, enhancing the arts, or supporting students. Learn more at leaveabequest.org.